Good evening, everybody, and welcome back. See me here at Sammy J Stitches, and it's time for a new floss tube, and I think it's only just been over a week. Pretty sure. Anyways, I don't have a ton to show you, but each of the things that I have to show you have a ton of progress, so I'm really excited about that. It looks like this week was all Big Brother focused, so I will try and give you the quick synopsis of all of that as I go through each project. I did do some beading for Monopoly, but I didn't bring that to show you. So first things first is the week I got back, and you've seen some of this, I'm sure, but the week I got back from retreat, I kind of hyper focused the little bit of stitching that I got to do, and on one project, because it was for Big Brother, it was for an eviction, it needed a lot of stitches, and I was only getting a little bit of stitching each day just because I was pretty tired. And I also didn't, it took us later in the week to catch up on Big Brother, so I didn't know who my HOH was until later in the week. So I didn't do my daily stitching last week, so I did both daily stitchings for this week. So I'll show that to you. But the one I hyper focused on was Shangri-La from Kesslin Designs, and here's where it got to. This one was, like I said, it needed a nomination or a replacement nomination and eviction stitches. And the way I do eviction is it's 50 stitches for every vote that person gets, and this one got a pretty unanimous vote, so I needed to put 650 stitches in for that. So here is where we're at. This one's been a little slow going lately because I messed up somewhere in here and I didn't want to frog all that, on 40 count. So I figured out how to make it work. I mean, it's a vine. Who really cares if it's a few stitches too wide or too high, whatever, it doesn't matter. So I've been working I finished up these leaves, and then I started working this way, and then I kind of started bouncing between this and filling in the flower, back and forth. That way I didn't get too bored with any one thing. So, since this person has been evicted, we probably won't see this again for a little bit unless it comes up for Monopoly or something else. But this is Shangri-La from Kesslin Designs. All right. Next, I got into wanting to catch up on last week's HOH, and then of course I was keeping up with this week's HOH. HOH for me is a daily 100, and so for last week that was Star Dragon. So this week, each night that I did the daily 100 for this week's HOH, I did a daily 100 on this one too. So that being said, it got 600 stitches this week because I don't include the day of the airing, which is Sunday. So I stitched Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 6 days. And this one, I was able to finish this page and get a pretty good start over here on this one. So, Star Dragon from Owl Forest Embroidery. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I'm using the Owl Forest threads, which are just, there's only 4 of them actually, and they're phenomenal. Got your green and red, gold, and gray. So, I mean, look, that red is so perfect. So, we will be seeing this one again soon, because I do know that, so I've been playing catch up. This week, with finishing Shangri-La, I finished week 2. We're currently in tonight just started week 6. So I have some catching up to do. Now, I've done some sporadic in those other weeks, but week 2 is the only one I've got completed. This one is going to show up for week 6, so we are going to see it again at some point when I pull it out. I am trying to kind of go back and do things in order, and I'll show you in just a minute. So the HOH for this week, she's a bit of an oddball, but I really kind of liked her. so not all of these projects came with a personality. A lot of them were just randomly chosen. However, there were a few that I picked specifically because I thought they were either going to get a lot of stitches or it fit their personality in some way. And so for me, this one fit the HOH. She's kind of a hippie chick, she talks about auras and all this stuff. So I felt like Soul Tropica kind of reminded me of her a lot. So with her being HOH this week, she got 600 stitches. And you can see a lot of that was in the tail. I did a little bit, and like all of this is finished outside of beading. And so we're kind of working our way down, and I'm about to really have to move the Q-snap because the big old fin is about to come up. So she's looking so gorgeous. This is a Bella Filipina, and it is on a 32 count Opal Lugana in Sea God from Under the Sea Fabrics. Lexi picked out the pattern, she picked out the fabric, and this is all hers. So we got 600 stitches in on Soul Tropica. So hopefully, I don't currently have any reason for her to come out again, but that person has not left Big Brother, so it'll happen at some point. It'll have to. So there's that. I'm gonna keep this one out. Put this one up. I try and switch them out so I don't have a whole bunch of projects in the house. I keep some out in my stitchy shed. All right. And then what other one did Shangri-La? Shangri-La is going to get put up because they did get evicted. Again, it could come out for something else, but it's just not coming out for Big Brother. Which, like I said, I'm doing so much catch up on it that... All right. Next, how to go about this? I'm just gonna pull it. So the next thing I had, where's my notebook? Hopefully y'all didn't fall. Okay. So I will kind of flash these worksheets that Jessie made. So week 1, all highlighted. Week 2, all highlighted. Week 3, you can see we've highlighted a little bit. So, oh, sorry, that's week 4. Hold on, where's week 3? Okay, week 3, I'm most of the way. I've got one project I need to pull this week for someone. Okay, so these next three projects were all nominations for week 3. Which I only do 100 on each one for that, but if I was working on it and I could do something else, I did try to do that. So first things first is Kiana. Now Kiana was my favorite from the beginning. I know I hadn't named names up until now, but we're so far in. Anyways, he was my favorite from the beginning. So one of the things I did for him was I assigned him a checklist. Now my checklist is the things that I was supposed to be working on every month that I'm behind on. So this is how my checklist currently looks, and I need to highlight. I finished May and June today, but we'll get into that. So for him, when he gets called, I can pick any of these projects to work on, and it's helping me both with Big Brother stitching and getting through these goals. So I picked the top of the list, and then I just kind of stuck with it. I could have switched at any point and gotten some stuff done on some of these other ones, but this one was pretty behind, and so I'm working on World Postage Stamp. My monthly goal for this all year was 500 stitches each month, and honestly, I don't think I'm going to be able to finish out the year. I think we're going to finish this before the end of the year at the current rate. So here's where it's at. I did over 700 stitches on this week, or today actually, which finished up, I did 700 on it today. I did a couple hundred on it another day this week. Anyways, all in all, I have finished May, June, and July. I just finished July tonight. So May I only needed like 100 stitches, I think. And then I finished June and July. So over 1,000 stitches on it. Pretty sure. Yep. That is how that went. So you can see massive progress. This is almost complete. I have like a few stitches in this bridge and some down here coming along, and then most of this tower. And that I even started, it's a bike over here. I know the last few times I pulled this out, I've been like, there's something over here. I don't know what it is. It's a postal bike. Like, it has mail in the baskets. So you can see I got the tire started on that one. But this is where I got to. I did his veto for week 2, which was 320. I did his nomination for week 3, which was 100, and then his veto for week 3, which was 300. And then his veto for week 4, which was 280. So nominations for week 3, veto for week 3, and then both of those for week 4 also is how we got this much done. So I do think the next time I work on him, I think I'm going to switch to something else. This is only a month behind now. It just needs its August stitches to be current. So technically my checklist is checked up. So we will pull something else the next time. Well, I mean, he's pretty much always in there somewhere. So, we'll pull something else from the checklist. The next thing on the checklist is Mini Phantom of the Masquerade. But it only needs 300 stitches, so I think I'll wait on that one. Maybe pull out Fairy Tale Lands 1 because it's 3 months behind. So I'm going to put that up for now. Which is hard because you see it is so close to a finish, but it's okay. We've still got time. Plenty of time. And if for some reason Keanu were to be evicted, I would move checklist to somebody else in the house because I do want this to be something that continuously gets worked on. Not that specifically, this checklist. Okay, so then the next nomination I needed to stitch for was Kelly. I'm doing names now, whatever. I've been working on Moonlight Sampler. So, a lot in here and some of the font. I did the 100 stitches for her week 3 nomination, and then 200 stitches for her getting Blockbuster. So it's really coming along. I do believe she has stitches in week 4 I still need to get to. And I don't know about going forward after that. It doesn't look like it, but you never know. So this is going to stay out because I have at least one more thing to stitch on it. And that is from the Blue Flower. Moonlight Sampler. All right. I'm going to keep this one over here. All right, and this last one, it is also going to stay out because... No, just kidding. I think I've caught up on all the stitches on it. All right. So for the last nominee for week 2 and 3, so I did have to stitch on it. In week 2, he was a renomination after somebody used a veto. And then in week 3, he was a nomination. So his project is Family Patchwork from Modern Folk Embroidery. This was a sale back in 2020. I'm so far behind on it. It's ridiculous, but it's okay. It's good for things like this because I'm using a Silks For You, so I don't have to like constantly change colors. I'm just using this. And I know I have the first row, so I think, and then maybe 1 or 2 on this row. Anyway, this is where it's at. So it's a little messy, but It's coming along. So for that, the renom is 150 and the nomination is another 100. So I did 250 on this between last night and today. So that catches you up on all my stitching for the week. I do feel like I'm slowly getting more and more time to stitch. I'm starting to find grooves and routines. Like most nights this week, I was able to get about 300 stitches in. So I would get 100 on each of the HOH stitching, and then I would get 100 on Shangri-La or whatever else. So I feel like that's going really well. I started a new job last week. I've now done 2 weeks at my job and I absolutely love it. I enjoy the work. It is work. I can't sit around and stitch like I used to, but I'm enjoying the work. I'm enjoying my coworkers. I'm enjoying my company. And Friday we had a team building event. We apparently have these one per quarter. And so this was quarter 3 and we went go-kart racing. So that was a lot of fun. And I did the thing you're supposed to do at these events, and I got to know people that work for the company but don't work my location. We have 4 locations here, and I know everybody from my location, the one right next to me, but I don't know the 2 on the other side. So I got to know some of those people, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, so it's just a matter of, I feel like I knocked a lot of this out. Like I said, these last 2 on week 3 is a project that I'll pull and work on tomorrow, along with this week's HOH, which is going to be Lilith of Labrador. So we hadn't pulled her out yet. Yeah, I'm feeling really good about it all. I was going to try and stream today, but my laptop was locked up in my daughter's bedroom. So I didn't get to do that. Maybe next weekend. I don't think I have plans, but we'll see. And hopefully I get back to doing the regular Flosstubes, even though this one's only going to be about 20 minutes. Okay, plans for the week, since we're here. I need to pull Edgar. That's the end of week 3. Moonlight Sampler needs some more stitches. I need to pull Coastal Band Sampler, Ladies Who Lunch, the Aristocats, Gift of Giving, and Amethyst. Ooh, and Black Roses, which y'all barely seen because I just started it, so that's cool. So I'm gonna pull those projects out tonight, and we're gonna slowly work our way through this list. I'm feeling really good about getting back to being able to hit my goals and things like that. I've let a lot of stuff go by the wayside the last few months, and I'm not saying I'm jumping back in, but I'm hoping we'll slowly tiptoe into the water. So that is it, I think, for me this week. I'm sorry, it's really quick. I'm talking too fast and it's short, but I've got to get ready for work tomorrow, and I managed to come back in just over a week, and we only had 5 projects to look at. 6 projects. So thank you all so much for coming back week after week. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you saw something you enjoyed and keeps you coming back for more. If you're a returning friend and subscriber, thank you for putting up with this year with me, because I know it is not what you're used to when it comes to me. I apologize, and hopefully we get back to that. I know I've said it a dozen times this year, but I'm starting to feel it. Really hopeful. To my returning friends and subscribers, thank you so much for coming back week after week. I truly appreciate you. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, all the ways that you show you love me, and I will see y'all next week.